Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I am joined today by a student inside my foundation's coaching program, Danielle Hankinson. Danielle is the brand new owner of Mountain Myofascial Release, located in Kings Beach, California. If you don't know where that is, it's near North Tahoe. She joined coaching back around April of 2024 and then opened her business from scratch in July. And we are here to listen to her journey of what that has been like for her and where she is today, now in October of 2024. So Danielle, welcome to the program. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing good. This is going to be a fun chat. If you remember, what was going on with you when you decided to join coaching back in April? I mean, it hasn't been that long, but what was going on for you?
Yeah, so I just finished massage school last year in December. And during that, we do all these modalities and we did a myofascial. And then I looked further in and I found the John Barnes system and I did MFR1. I'm like, this is all I want to do. I'll just get through school so I can do this. I've been a portrait photographer for 20 years. And what helped me in that business, of course, learning the craft, but was also learning how to run the business, how to sell it, how to price things, all those things. So with that, it was like with coming into this new business, I know nothing about it. You know, I'm green, but I know in the other one, coaching helps in having a framework. So then through looking up people, somehow I found you. Can't remember how, probably on the John Barnes group or something. And then I started listening to your podcasts. For a long time. And I couldn't wait to join. And normally I'm someone who jumps in too early to everything. So I'm like, stay in your lane, finish your school, do the MBLEX test, which is not myofascial release bucket. So I'm like, stay in that bucket. And then I'm like, all right, I'm free. Now I can really dive into this. And so then I joined in with you. And what I've loved so far when I was starting was the framework that you had everything laid up in steps. These are all the things that you need to do to get started. Because, you know, I didn't want to just start and not have a framework. I've had this happen in photography where if all the things aren't organized and then you get busy, it's all a bit of a sloppy mess. And I value that a lot. So you were very good at laying all that out for me. And then there's the weekly calls and things. So that's kind of how I found it. Jumped in straight away.
Awesome. Did you think, having had ran your photography business for 20 years, were you really thinking that the business that you had as a photographer and the business that you were going to have as an MFR therapist would be that different?
Yes and no. The parallel is selling. Mm-hmm. And then also with selling, because I've helped photographers with selling because I wasn't a cheap one. And it was a good business, but the industry's changing a lot. So I'm like, all right, let's pivot. With selling, just like anything else, if you believe in what you're selling, you can sell it. And a few years ago with photography, I was doing some training. It's like, I don't value it at the level that I need to really be super good at it. It was a six-figure business for a while, but to go on that next level, I'm like, I really don't care that much about it. I don't value it. And then with myofascial and my own personal experiences receiving it, I value it immensely, which makes it easy to sell. So that's the bit where it correlates, you know, it's in the sales.
So when you graduated from massage school and you found MFR, were you thinking, oh, I can make more money doing MFR? Like, what motivated you to want to do MFR versus just massage therapy?
Yeah. Okay. So absolutely. 100%. I was looking around, and from other things I've learned, the tighter your niche, meaning, you know, something that you've chosen, who do you want to help? The easier it is to sell and the easier it is to make money. And so I have chosen to do this to make money.
I love that. I think you posted about this in the Facebook group a few weeks ago. And I was like, we're definitely going to talk about this because there are a lot of MFR therapists that will say, well, I'm not in this for the money. And my question is always like, well, what are you doing then? Like, why do you charge at all if you're not in it for the money? And also, like, let's normalize making lots of money as MFR therapists. I think the more we normalize that, the better it's going to be for our industry overall, and the less secretive MFR is going to be because more people will stay in business longer. So let's talk about that. Being in business for the money. How did you get your brain there?
Yeah, so photography business, as I was like going in Facebook groups and learning about massage business, very similar in the struggles because it's a service. And I want everyone to have great photos is a thing. And I would help people with that a lot. And so same with this, I want to help people in pain. Everyone deserves to not be in pain. And it's like, true. But if I'm not making enough money, I'm serving at a half level. And if I'm not serving at my all in, they're not getting all of me anyway. So they're not, it sort of goes around in a circle. So I have to feel well paid so that I can serve well. And a motto I had in my photography business that is the same that I got from my mom, I think. I want to be expensive and worth it.
I love that. Expensive and worth it. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, it's okay because I have spent a lot of money for myself for pain and treatments and things. Some things are expensive, but if you get results, it's worth it. So word around town is she's a bit expensive, but she's worth it. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can go all in with treating them. I'm fully present. I'm not struggling. I'm not worrying about financial things. The other thing I've learned through having my other business, what we perceive is what we receive. And one thing I love and I tell people is like closed hands can't receive. So when money's tight in your business and when you're starting out, it is. There's a lot of things that have to get out. You can have that scarcity mindset, but if the money's tight, your fists are closed, so you can't receive. So it's like open hands receive. So if you're open to like possibility, you have more possibility of things happening. Another thing I think, because in the photo business, it's up and down, very cyclical, which for me, this new one, I don't see it being so cyclical, which is great. But with the photography business, one time I was lying in bed and I remember thinking about it, I'm like, well, when it's really busy, sometimes I have too much work. I'm like, my wallet is overflowing,
Yeah. Like feast or famine kind of.
Yeah. And it's like, then you have too much, but you put out into the world, the universe, whatever your beliefs are. Oh my gosh, I have too much work. And it's like, well, it's just too much. Keep creating too much. And then the opposite, I don't have enough. And you start worrying it. And I've learned the mindset things is if you believe in what you're selling and if you kind of let go of the outcome, like John says, and you've done the work too. It's like you put the work out there and you just know I've done everything. It should come to me. And it always does.
Yeah. Well, what I noticed about you when you first joined is you were like on a mission to get open. And then also like the closer you got to opening, I was like, so what's your open date? And you're like, I'm going to do a soft open. And I was like, what does that mean? But you were like very determined to get everything set up ahead of time, go on vacation, and then open your business. What has it been like since you opened in July?
Amazing. Easy. It's crazy. I keep saying this business for me, from what I've come from, is so easy. What I mean, a few things, but one of them is selling photography is difficult because we all have cell phones and it's become a commodity. And phones are pretty good. With the right lighting, you can get really good cell phone shots.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're always having to convince people and sell them. And the amount of no's, I used to sell on phone calls, pretty much everybody would book, like almost 90%. Nowadays, it's about 30%. The flip on that was difficult. And so that's with that, you're used to rejection. It's like, okay, I've experienced this. So then for me, selling myofascial is so easy. You have pain, I have tools and resources to help you. Great, let's go. And the price point to me is easy. My session is $165. Mm-hmm. And then I have some other different things where I've partnered with other people. And then the 6-pack is $900. And to me, that's still affordable and cheap. So it comes down to what you believe too. I'm like, because I charge that for a photo session and you get pictures, which is great and can be valuable. But I give you pain relief. Like this is way more valuable. So it's just simple and easy. And selling the singles into the 6s, I've had really good success on that. I just ask them because I'm not afraid to ask for the sale. It's like,
Yeah.
great, if you want really fast results, this works, because I've experienced it myself too.
I love that. And I love how like your thoughts behind all of this is just like, this is easy. This is simple. Everybody wants it. Of course they want to pay this rate. Like this rate is just such good value. I think that helps make it so easy. What ends up happening is a lot of people don't have these clean thoughts about selling or these clean thoughts about their ability to help. So they struggle through every sales conversation because they're also combating at the same time that they think it's expensive. They're not 100% bought in that they can help and whatever other drama they have going on in their brain. So like, what advice would you give to those people that are listening to this that are like, well, Danielle just makes this seem like this is a no-brainer. This is so simple. Like, why can't I get here? What advice would you have for them?
Yeah. And I think that ties into what you do in your coaching, because I've had a lot of coaching myself. So I didn't get there from nowhere.
Yeah.
So I remember a few years ago, I learned how to do coaching too. And I remember we were doing anchor points. I don't know if you know about that with NLP. And so it's like you can create a point. I was like, I know I struggle when I get to a certain number in sales. It was around the $3,000 mark. I could feel me physically retreating, my tone of voice, that confidence would just plummet. And so I got coaching on that. And then you can create, like, we went through where do I feel it in my body, just like you talk, and how we treat myofascial. It's the same thing. And so it's like, where did I feel it? And we went through what that was, and it went deep into myself, and it came to something in my childhood or whatever, something about a value of me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember now because it's cleared. But then we had this anchor thing. So I just touched my thumb to the finger, which is this anchor point. And so I remember in the sales room going, oh, there's that feeling. And I did the little thing that I was taught. And then I grew the confidence back, and I just said the number. What did you say? Like it's the news. That'll be $3,000. How do you want to pay? So I've done the work to get there. So it goes to, where do you feel it in your body? How do you know? And doing that inner work to really get to the point. If you don't, it's always going to show up.
Yeah. So I love how you're just living the ease of this now. And it's because of all of the work you've done and continue to do. And also it's like you sought out more help and support to make sure that this business was easy for you. And so you've only created from ease, which is really beautiful. So use Danielle as an example of what's possible. Like you can have an easy business from the opening. And it doesn't mean that you don't experience pain or rejection or hard moments. You just have a lot of tools to handle that and go through that with more ease. Would you say that's true?
Yeah. And then Heather has a lot of that coaching, and then the support in the Facebook group, so it's like, and we see that on the coaching sessions and a lot of the things people are going through. And I'm like, I've already gone through those, but I did have to go through those pain points.
Yeah. And I've not coached you live on a call before, have I? No. So I've coached you in the Facebook group. Like we've had lots of discussions in there. So what is that like from your perspective to not have had a live interaction with me? Has that been a problem or slowed you down in any way?
No, because I was lucky in that I've done the mindset work myself and other businesses. So I came without that as a baggage thing to deal with. But when you see someone else go through things, you're like, I've been there and done that. Or even if you haven't, and maybe it's something that you're struggling with, even if you're not being coached, you're hearing. And some people, I'm someone who will speak out, but some people learn well just from listening. So everybody's learning styles are different. But then with the Facebook group, when I ask a question, you guys are fast. I get answers quicker than I expect. I think one time it was the weekend. I'm like, you shouldn't be working today.
I know. And I was like, okay, fine.
Yeah, because as an entrepreneur, I have had burnout. I have done this where I've overworked myself, as a long story there. So even in this new business, I'm very good at keeping my parameters tighter. And then at this point, I was away last week because my kid had some medical stuff. I had 2 sessions booked, and now I've got 6 this week.
That's amazing.
Yeah. One booked me off the website yesterday. I posted in the group because this person said it's his first professional massage. And I'm like, that's not this. And my website has nothing about it, but he's coming in for pain reasons. So I'm like, something he read on there made him say, I want this. And you asked me really good questions yesterday about it. The one that really helped was if you were fully booked, what would you do? I'm like, I wouldn't worry about it, you know?
Yeah. You probably wouldn't even know that was on the intake because you'd be reading the intake while they're walking into your office.
Oh, yeah, I do read the intakes. That's the other thing that's great that I love that you gave us. The intake form and the questions really help me understand for sales, actually. Like,
Yeah.
here's their pain stuff. And then some of the questions really pinpoint, I'm like, is this a one-off person or someone I can sell into more? So this person I'm seeing is visiting. But I don't know how long he's visiting. Maybe it's a while. And if so, I'm like, hey, if you want to get this fixed, a 6 session would be great. And I've done a few of those. Oh, the other thing that's helped me being new was I had 2 people with lots of pain and I used them as guinea pigs. And I still treat them a little bit, but that gave me the confidence. And one of them, and I'm targeting athletic humans. And one of them, she's like, I got a whole lot of crap. I went, I know. That's why I asked you.
Get in there. Let me get my hands on you.
Yeah. And another person. So I've treated people with big stuff.
I love
And
that.
they've had big results. So that early on gave me that confidence because I need it.
Yeah. I think John Barnes would be so proud to know that he is putting this skill set into the world. And there's people like you that are like taking it so serious and you're not waiting to decide you're confident to do, like, you're just deciding that you can do it and you can help. And it's like putting the skills into action that actually creates the expert over time versus just like how many seminars you go to. So I think you'd be so proud to know that you've created this business and that you are helping people right out of the gate. You're not waiting, which is great.
To me, it's better than anything else. Massage is great for relaxation. I think it's really good. But for pain relief, it's not so great. And then John always says, half of it's just being present, you know?
Yeah. Just like having like the audacity to help people, right? It's really what it comes down to. And he talks about that a lot in seminars, is like having that, just go out and do it. Like, you have more skills than probably anyone else that's been through years and years of training. Like, you have that from this one seminar because you're going to look at the body totally different and treat it totally different than somebody else. Well, you're not going to just do the same old thing. You're doing something that's actually helpful. And so, you know, that knowing that is one thing, executing it and acting on it and giving yourself permission to do it is something totally different. And you've done such a beautiful job of executing that aspect of this. It's one thing to learn the skills, it's another thing to put them into action. So way to go.
You just got to do it, you know, and the more you do it, the more people. So if you're new and you're not confident, that's fine. Get your hands on bodies, people you know who will give you good feedback too. People aren't afraid to say that was terrible or that was good, because then you can really start to learn where your strengths are. And then I love the thing John always says is let go of the outcome. My favorite thing, because I talk to people and they give me all their things. I'm like, great. Until you're on the table and I tuned into you, I have no idea where we're going. And then everyone seems to trust me.
Yeah, but I think like that honesty too helps build that rapport, build that trust, is like, especially when you're like, I have no idea how this is going to go. Like, you're kind of excited and like, I kind of want to go, like, let's go do it. You know, let's see what happens.
Yeah. And I posted this in the group. I recently got ADHD diagnosed and I'm doing the medication and learning, partly because I'm like, I'm starting this new business and I noticed my squirrel brain and it's a lot. But where it is an advantage for me in myofascial is I'm curious. Every treatment is different. I never know what is going to happen, even with the same person. So for that ADHD mind, it's for me a great fit because I'm moving around and I'm like, oh, this connects to this, like the patterns that we're good at seeing. So I see how this is utilizing the skills that could be a negative if I were to be an accountant.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard other MFR therapists be diagnosed with ADHD and think of it as a negative. So this is like a nice spin on that, like how it is so positive for you. And that thought is available for anyone that's listening to this.
Yeah, because there's strengths and it's seeing patterns. What do we do in myofascial? We're connecting, you know, you feel into someone's body and like, oh, that's up there. And you ask them, is this referring anywhere? Oh, I feel it in my shoulder. You're like, that's what I thought, you know. And so then they feel that we're together, we're a team. And I find with treating people, receiving and giving, the more of that back and forth, where you feel the person whose hands are on your body actually understands you from even a nonverbal way is so comforting and builds trust.
Exactly. And there's the fact that the person made it to your office, they booked that appointment, they showed up. their responsibility can end there. Like you've got it from there. And I think being willing to be the therapist that takes them from there, and there's nothing for them to do, nowhere for them to be. They just get to show up exactly how they are is really helpful because when we think about dealing with people that have been through massive traumas, are living in extraordinary levels of pain, like the ask to get them into the office is big enough. And like we can take it from there. They don't need to do anything to make us feel good or to make us feel like we're making a difference. Like we're there to help them.
Yeah, and it's easy to get afraid of that too. Someone comes with a laundry list of things, all these big medical terms. Like I just graduated massage school.
Yeah. You're like, I'm new here, actually.
I'm not a doctor, and all these things. You can easily go, oh shit. But it's like, show up, be present, follow their body's cues and leads, like John teaches us, and they feel validated and heard. I have a woman who's had a bunch of surgeries, a whole lot of things, and I can feel it all in her body. And the stuff, she did one session and she was money conscious. Like, I don't know if I can afford this. I'm like, well, whatever. And after the first session, she's like, wow, okay, I need more. Well, my husband's seeing you. Do you have a family discount? I said, no, because there's a gym program that's on and they're already getting a discount. I said, that's the biggest discount. And then she gave me her credit card.
And it didn't offend you, right? Like the win there is like you were not offended. Like she could ask you any question and you knew the answer and you were not trying to people please her or like try to get her to stay. And I think that is so brilliant and so powerful. And like this is just such a good example of what's possible for people when you're not connected to people pleasing them or getting them to do anything, right? You're like, this is just what it is. Like, do you want it or not? I love it.
Yeah. And then it's like something I learned through some photography coaching, because I remember the biggest sale I've done in photography, actually, no, I did it this year. Before that, it was $7,000 on pictures, right? Let's just call it what people call it. Yeah. $7,000, which is a lot of money. For me, that's a lot of money. This year I did a $10,000 sale. And I'm like, oh, she wants this. I listened to what she wanted and I created it. And some of the work was her own photos. I'm like, should I discount those? I'm like, no, I'm solving a problem. Mm-hmm. But that one was easier because I'd done the work. And something that in this other coaching was, we were talking about, because a lot of people would do these big sales. And it was, so say you've saved up, right? Okay, let's use myofascial. We've saved up and we're going to do, I don't know, one of the seminars, and we're going to do 3 in a row. So that's a lot of money for a lot of us. And we've saved up and it's a big deal and we're so excited and we're ready to hand over that card. And then they're like, oh, let's just do half off because of you. Sometimes that's like a gut punch to your money. Like, well, isn't my money valuable? I put so much value into getting to this point. And then I think this morning on something you guys were talking about is like, you need to feel that pinch. So for us, even if it's getting coaching with you, for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. Like you need to feel that discomfort and go, oh, and then you still hand over your credit card. Then when your clients feel that, you've experienced it. But when that happens, what do? You go all in.
Yeah, exactly. There's something very powerful in that exchange of money when it is uncomfortable. And there is something happens, it must be like chemically in our brains where we value something more. Because I do think sometimes when things are discounted or you get it for free, you don't show up the same way.
Even my family, well, my husband and daughter don't have to pay, but they've been like, I need a session. I'm like, you got to get on my calendar. I'm like, not doing it at home.
Yeah, I think that's really smart, a really smart boundary, actually.
Yeah. And then my friends, I still charge them $130. It's like, because I want them to show up on time and all in and committed. If I just did 50% off, oh, sorry, can't make it. It's like,
yeah, I'm busy today. I have to do my hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, is this a career or what do you call it? A jobby or something?
A jobby. Yeah. It's like a hobby kind of job or is it?
Yeah. And it's okay to charge money. We live in a capitalist society. There's no way around it. I'd love to be in like a commune or something, but we're not.
I like to have money because money creates so much freedom and so many like options for me and my family. And if I didn't have it, yeah, it just makes my world a little bit smaller and it makes things harder. So why not make it easier?
If we think of myofascial way of thinking, when we don't have enough, what do? We brace, we tighten, we shrink because we're protecting. So it's not healthy. So,
It's not healthy. And I appreciate you talking about this because I think there is this paradigm in our community, especially where it is not safe to earn money. And there's almost like a chip on people's shoulders about not making money. And it's like a pride thing. Like, this is good. I'm not making any money. Look how good I am. And I'm just like, why is that better? Everybody is making, is it okay for like John to be the only one making money in this? That can't be true. And it doesn't hurt anyone else for like you to be making money. It doesn't hurt anyone if I'm making money. It doesn't hurt any other, like in our group of 100 people right now, we have almost $5 million in MFR sales in the last 14 months, right? That's just out of 100 people.
that's awesome.
And it's not affecting anyone else's ability to make money. Like, it's almost like the more money we make, the more money everybody else makes.
Like one of the people I've been helping, she has no money, right?
Yeah.
And so, but her results have been amazing. So she's my charity case. It's okay to have someone like charge everyone else full price so that you can help one or two people and you get to choose who they are. I think someone on one of the Facebook conversations, a client was like, well, yesterday was something about mortgage rates have gone down. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, mortgage rates have gone down. Why would your price go up or something like that? And it's like, how is that related?
Yeah, and that's tricky to hear at the time. And I'd be like, I'm not a mortgage company.
I'm not a mortgage company would be my response. Yeah, I'd be like, or how that's related.
Yeah, like, so, and that means you expect me to fluctuate my rates? Why would I do that?
Yeah, or like, I have a big payment coming up. I guess my rates are going up, right? Like, that's so weird.
Or I bought a really expensive house now, so I have to charge you triple.
Yeah, exactly. Or I don't like that question, so I am going to charge you triple. People are so weird.
Exactly. Yeah, you get the triple rate.
I think one thing though to keep in mind is people being in a space where your client could say that to you and for it to not trip you up is really a magical place to be in. And it's such a healthy spot to be in because you're still going to offer to help that person, even if they have kind of personally offended you. But like, what if you don't even get offended by any question someone asks you, right? Like you could have been offended by this guy coming in for a professional massage or whatever, but instead you're just like, oh, I know I can help him no matter what. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I think that comes to doing the inner work, which is a lot of what you have in your program, because the more of the inner work you've done, the less you're triggered. Same like when we're treating people, someone's pains or emotional things that come up, we may have experienced and we may not have completed that yet. And sometimes you'll feel your own body tightening up or your words shift. So the more you've done your inner work, the less these things can bother you. It's like, oh, that's an interesting point of view. Don't know how you got to that, but hey, whatever. And you could fling it back like, wow, that's interesting. Where do you feel you're concerned about mortgage rates?
Yeah. Or the mortgage rate's keeping you from getting what you want. Yeah. Like, it keeps you curious, right? Like when you're not defensive, you're curious and you can just find out what people want,
Yeah. The more you can be curious, the easier it is.
Is there anything about being in the program that surprised you now that you've been in it for a little while?
Yes, I guess so. So for me, I've done the work. And so I was looking for ABC check marks, which I've been doing. And so far, I haven't come up with any mind trash over changing things, but you never know. I could, because after I'm fully booked for a while, I'm going to increase the rates. But at this point, it still seems fine. So the biggest thing would be something I was kind of aware of is the inner struggles that a lot of people have, that valuing yourself enough to charge what you need to live comfortably. Some people are like, oh, well, I only need this. And it's like, only is limiting. And so that's where people need help because, of course we want to do more seminars. We need enough money that we can afford to do them and be present, not go, shit, I've got nothing next week. Or I'm really tight and scared. Like, then you can be all in like, yeah, I'm good. Let's go out to dinner,
Yeah, the experience of the seminar is totally different when you can afford to be there and you can have a luxurious experience. You're not like in a room with 6 other therapists because you all can't afford to be there. Yeah, it's a much better experience when you're going out to dinner, grabbing drinks, just water, John. We're just drinking water and like having a good time,
Yeah, so it's that inner work of owning, like it's easy to do the math and figure out your numbers. Yeah. But then you have to be able to say those numbers with confidence and ease, like at first I was like 165. So I did the math And then I looked around at massage rates, and then you add the tip, and I'm like, oh, it's about the same. So I'm like, really, it's fine. It's no big deal. And then even I guess something I haven't done, but people do, and it's normal, is comparing yourself to others. Like I worked as a massage therapist last year while I was still in school, and I put in MFR everywhere I could.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of the business, I did MFR on her. And then what was really interesting was one time she'd scheduled me and I'd messed up the schedule. I was stressed with personal stuff. And she calls me, why aren't you here? I'm like, it's next week. And she's like, no. And she's like, I canceled my chiropractor for you. And I'm like, all right. I'd done MFR 1. And she's had this business for like 20 plus years. She's like, you really helped me. She was very mad. And so I was listening to that, like, I must have helped her that much that she's that pissed off that I'm not there, which was so validating. I'm still in school. So that was really cool.
I love that. I wish everybody could have like your filter on experiencing these things, because I think a lot of people would just be like devastated that they ticked their boss off and like not recover from that.
And then I've ran a business, so I've come from that place, and I'm thinking, all right, you didn't ask me what was going on, because I said, I'm always there. I'm always on time. The first time I hadn't, and she was so in her head, and as a boss, you shouldn't do that. So I was thinking she could have asked me, well, what's going on? Because this isn't like you. And I'm like, well, actually, my kid, and there was a whole lot of things going on. That goes to the same when we get a client where things don't happen how we want. We don't know what's going on in their life. We have no idea. They're not going to tell us everything.
Yeah.
When you can have that mindset, then it's easy. But then I am a lucky human in that I have this positive flip naturally. Like it's just there. It's like the art of the reframe. And sometimes it's annoying for my kids. And sometimes it's like, do you just want to vent me to agree with you? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, this sucks. And I don't come up with solutions. But I am lucky in that I can just naturally flip it into something positive always. So that's something to work on. It's like, all right, what would be the positive spin? How can I shift this? Even though it sounds sucky, something good's got to come out of it. Like my ski accident that got me the pain that I found MFR way too late. I wish it was earlier. But that allows me to treat people in pain. And when they say things like, oh, yeah, I understand, and they know I do because it's real. So however you got to MFR, you can use that,
Yeah. And even if you didn't have a traumatic injury, because I think some people feel bad that they didn't get into MFR for some like personal reason, it doesn't matter. You can find the people that you've helped and use those stories to share with people. You can still empathize in those ways. You don't have to have a severe injury in order to be a good therapist. I think our whole life stories help influence the therapists that we're going to be regardless.
And then it becomes the results that we've got for others. Like, oh, I've helped someone like you.
Yeah.
This person had this, or something that's worse, and we got this in this many sessions. Then like, oh, all right. So then it becomes, because I'm newer, now I'm gaining those stories of clients I've worked with.
Yeah. You're literally just building everything right now. So you've been in business for a couple of months. Tell us about your business, like what's fully booked for you.
So 16 is fully booked based on what you guys said. And in massage school, I would ask the teachers, because I'm 55. So it's like, how do I keep my body strong and healthy and not burn out?
Yep.
So 16, and I had 1 week with 15. And that was really good to get a feel. I think 2 of those were my freebie people that I'm working on, but it's still doing the work.
Yeah.
So it's good for me to get a feel for the pace. And so 16, and I've been averaging about 10.
That's amazing.
I know, it's crazy in the last few weeks. I'm like, wow, this is nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And then how I've got the clients, because and that was talked about in the thing this morning, is finding who you want to work with. So for me, it's athletic humans. I live in a ski area. Everybody does sport, which means there's an endless supply of clients. Mm-hmm. But some people are in the emotional, because as we know, this helps with the emotional, and it's wherever you're passionate. If you're passionate, you can sell it. And so then I thought I need to target trainers, because like I can help free up the muscles so that when they go to the gym or their workouts, they're going to get a much better result. And then they'll keep going to the gyms. So earlier in the year, there was this workshop for the gym people. And I'm like, I'm going to go because I'm going to put myself out there. And the person who runs it, I've known from a long time ago. And then she said that they were doing this challenge for 2 months and I could be part of the offerings. So from that, I've got people, and I did a 15% discount, though they're doing another one in January. And I'm like, I need to make that 10%. So the next one I'm going to shrink it a bit. I was able to market myself through there. I'm supposed to be participating, but I've been busy working, and I've treated the owner of the place, and she got amazing results off one session. And then one of the yoga instructors, she did one and then she did 6. Like, she's just all in. She was telling everybody.
I love it.
Jules has said, blah, blah, blah. So that's helped. Pilates instructor I know that I did photographs for, her daughter's senior. She sent me a couple of people. Yeah, so I'm networking. There's another gym. There's a CrossFit gym around the corner that I need to go to. To me, they're like, those guys are a little bit of a different mindset, but I'm like, yeah, but they beat themselves up really bad. So.
Thanks for tuning in today. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to remind you that my Foundations program is still open for enrollment, and we're keeping the doors open until every spot is filled. I get that life's been extra busy lately between the election, family, holidays, everything else we juggle as entrepreneurs. It can be easy to put your goals on the back burner. As a mom of 3 and a business owner, I totally get it. I see you. But here's the thing. If you're ready to get fully booked in 2025, to turn those valuable myofascial release skills into a true revenue generating practice, there's no better time to start. The Foundations program is 12 months of support designed to help MFR therapists just like you reach their fullest potential. This program is specifically crafted for those of you who want to move beyond trading hours for dollars and build a practice that truly supports your life goals. We're talking about a step-by-step path to get booked out and fully realize the business potential of the training you've already invested in. And for those of you who've been in business for years, when you join, we will adjust the business you already have to ensure you aren't under-earning and are getting the most out of your business by making it even easier to save you time and generate more money. You'll get weekly support, accountability, and proven strategies to help you succeed. And I'm sending all enrollees a little extra thank you gift, so you'll be set up with everything you need. The investment is $3,000 for the entire year. That's for 12 months of support, resources, and growth opportunities, and the best community. I can't wait to support you and watch your practice flourish. So if you've been hesitating, let this be your sign. Join us now, and let's get you on the path to a fully booked and thriving 2025. Go to www.themfrcoach.com/foundation for all the details and to enroll now. We'll see you there. All right, Danielle, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure for me to watch you go from 0 to starting and then to just have this little check-in with you as you're a couple months into business. I can't wait to check in with you a year from now to see how it's going. So we'll have to plan another episode. Is there anything you wanted to say before we wrap up?
Trust the process. Do the inner work. When your head trash comes up, because it will, that's okay. Be with it, like we do in myofascial. It's the same stuff. It's use the things we know and be in it and do the work. And if things come up, great. Be in the muck. You know how he says we have to heal in chaos.
Yeah.
So as you're moving along, like, I can't say that. Like, well, then why? Get to that. Then it's clean. Then it's clear. Then it's easy. So it's like, yeah, do the inner work would be the biggest thing.
Amazing. And then would you recommend that people join coaching right away before they even open? Or like, what would you be your recommendation?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Well, like, why struggle? And you have the payment plans.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I did, because it's like there's no money coming in yet, but why struggle? Learn how to do it right from the start, and being in a community of other people. Some are further along and some who are starting out, so you can see what's possible. If you wait, then you're just, to me, it's just back.
There's no benefit to waiting.
And then you come in with all this head trash. And if you start with the coaching, you can't create it. Like, you don't know anything. So you're like, oh, well, that's what you do. And you just do it.
Yeah. I love that.
100%. Yeah. Because I started before I hadn't even finished the exams and things. I was like, no, let's get this going. Yeah, I didn't get my business license till late June or July. So,
Yeah.
but I put all this stuff in behind, then I was ready to go.
You were like ready. You just took off. All right. Well, we will catch up in like 6 months to a year and find out where you're at and share your story with everybody else. So you guys can find Danielle at mountainmfr.com. And then what's your handle on Instagram?
I haven't been posting much yet, but that's in my to-do list. And I think it's at Mountain MFR.
Okay. So follow her and she'll start posting eventually. We'll get her there.
Yeah, that's in my get it going things.
Awesome.
Business got good, so it's tricky. I'm like, oh, I'm already getting clients. So.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to have social media to do it. So awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. For everybody that's listening, I will see you on another episode of the MFR Coaches Podcast. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The MFR Coach. And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com, for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making 6 figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.